Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, welcome. On this channel we post writing tips, unboxings, book hauls, book reviews and the occasional vlog. And today I have another book review for you. We are continuing my Discworld journey and we are reviewing Thief of Time by Terry Pratchett. If you're not new to my channel, you'll know I am reading the Discworld series in order, and this is the one I read recently. It's so floppy. This is one of the first ones that we might have had to buy in this series recently because we consolidated our Pratchett collection, and generally I think we have all of them in either hardback or paperback, but this is one that we actually didn't have. We got a brand new one and it's so floppy. It's very satisfying. But as always with my book reviews, I'll read you guys the blurb first. And don't forget, if you like what you see, to subscribe to this channel. Your continued support means a lot, so thank you guys so much. Blurby time. Time is a resource. Everyone knows it has to be managed. You mess with it at your peril. You can let it move fast or slowly, but what you mustn't do is allow it to stop. On the Discworld, time management is the job of the monks of history, who store it and pump it from the places where it's wasted, like underwater. How much time does a codfish need? To places like cities where there's never enough time. But the construction of the world's first truly accurate clock starts a race against, well, time for Letus and his apprentice, Lobsang Lud, because it will stop time. And when time stands still, everything stops with it. Then there really is no future. We have a review from A.S. Abayat. Pratchett is one of the great inventors of secondary or imaginative or alternative worlds. He has the real energy of the primary storyteller. This is the 26th Discworld novel, so we're getting there. We're making a big dent in this. This one was not one of my favorites. I first of all actually have a challenge for you guys. Name the character based on this quote I'm going to give you. Page 17. The man hammered on the door, sending snow sliding off the roof. The girl, who had been admiring her new hat in the mirror, tweaked the already low neckline of her dress for slightly more exposure, just in case the caller was male, and went and opened the door. Go on, who is it? Who did it? I'm going to say who it was at the end of this video, but I trust you. You got that. As always with my book reviews, I'll go through some quotes with you guys, then we'll go on to my overall review of this book. Page 24. He wished he liked people more, but somehow he could never get on with them. He never knew what to say. If life was a party, he wasn't even in the kitchen. I really enjoyed that. It felt representative of introverts and people who are just socially awkward, who don't always get how to start conversations or how to make friends. It just doesn't come naturally. So I liked how that has a character. This book has someone like that in here. Page 88. If children were weapons, Jason would have been banned by international treaty. In this book, if you're not new here, you will know, we have Death and Susan, and I adore Susan. Susan is Death's granddaughter, and she is a teacher. Now, that quote about Jason is about one of her students. Jason is such a bad student, he would have been banned internationally as a weapon. Page 90. Emma was going round the house looking for monsters in the cupboards, and up until now she's always been afraid of them. Did she have a stick? Said Susan. She had her father's sword. Good for her. I mean, Susan's teaching is just perfection. Page 91. Sometimes I really think people ought to have to pass a proper exam before they're allowed to be parents. Not just the practical, I mean. Yup, Pratchett went there. Page 108. This one, I don't know if it was a printing error or if this was done on purpose, okay? Please can you check your copies at home and comment down below. But we have Death speaking now. I'm going to just show you guys here. We have Death speaking, and you see here. Really, humans are the... So that should say, really, humans are the most unobservant creatures in the universe. Okay? Can you see that? Is that there on purpose? Or is it a printing error? I couldn't decide, because the fact that it has that in there kind of seems like a joke, because it's saying how humans are unobservant and how you might just read that, fix it in your head and keep going, or maybe you don't realize there's a mistake there. I don't know if that's a challenge from Pratchett or a printing problem, so please do comment down below if you've got a copy, no matter what year it's published, anything like that. If you've got a copy of Thief of Time, please can you check page 108 for me and let me know. I mean, depending on your copy, it might not be page 108, will it? It's where Death says humans are unobservant. Tell me. Page 241. It is a cat. It arrived. It does not appear to wish to depart. The cat, a feral ginger Tom, flicked a serrated ear and curled up in a tighter ball. Anything that could survive in Ankh-Morpork's alleys with their abandoned swamp dragons, dog packs and furriers agents was not about to even open one eye for a bunch of floating night dresses. This reminds me so much of Grebo, who is Nanny Ogg's cat in The Witches in Discworld. Also reminds me of the cat book Pratchett wrote. I'll put a link to my review of that from my Cat Mad book review above. Pratchett definitely owns or has owned cats. Page 255. That woman is here, he said, and thee hath brought lawyeth. I've said it once, and I'll say it again. What has happened to Pratchett and lawyers? I understand there's a joke about lawyers and people always saying they're untrustworthy, all this stuff, but what did lawyers do to Pratchett? Seriously, he's got something about lawyers. Page 293. And, what are you, Miss Susan? Me, I'm a school teacher. She followed his gaze to the wrench that she still held in her hand and shrugged. It can be pretty rough at break time, can it? Said Lobsang. Susan has just killed an auditor, and I love how she still introduces herself as a teacher, even though everyone else on the Discworld has completely stopped in time. Susan hasn't, Lobsang hasn't, and she's still like, I'm a teacher. Of course. My last two quotes now. Page 306. No, don't you try being a hero, said Quoth. The rat walked up to the base of the clock, stared up at it with the bigger they are, the harder they fall expression, and then whacked it with its scythe. Or at least tried to. Skip a bit. Told you, said the raven, preening its feathers. I bet you feel like Mr. Silly now, right? Oh, the death of rats has sucked into it, and oh, I hope he's okay. I mean, he will be okay. He's dead. You can't kill death, right? And finally, page 329. Do sit down and pull up a small child. I'm not going to explain that one to you, but just know, pull up a small child, have a seat. We're now into my overall review of this book, and as I said at the start of this video, it wasn't one of my favourites. The reasons for this, okay? I love Susan and I love Death. However, for whatever the reason, because this happens in soul music as well, Pratchett keeps making Susan fancy or fall in love with the male protagonist of the books that she's in. Now, she is such a good character and such a strong character. She could just be a protagonist on her own. She doesn't need to have the other protagonist there, but also, why does she always have to fall for them? Because nothing ever comes of it, because you never get the rest of the love story. Why is it? It just annoyed me. It was one of those things that Pratchett fell into with Susan, and I want Susan not to do that, okay? I also question, would the story have ended the same way if Susan and Death weren't in the book, which is the same problem I had in soul music? Would everything have happened without them being there? Were they actually needed to the plot of the story? Now, I understand Death kind of loiters and comes in and out of all books anyway, but to the extent that he is in this book, he is a character in the plot, but I kind of feel like the plot would have continued without them. It also felt like this book was quite long for the plot it was trying to do. So this book is 427 pages, and it's not the smallest of writing. It's not the biggest either, but not the smallest. And the story itself, it follows quite a basic plot. Like, I guess the twists and turns in it Good for Pratchett that he doesn't mention something that isn't then used later on, which is great foreshadowing. However, it did kind of feel like some of them just weren't that necessary. I'm gonna say the Yeti and the beheading, I know it foreshadowed something, but I don't think that something was needed at the end. Not enough substance for this amount of words. I still enjoyed it. It was still Pratchett. It's still funny. It's still easy to read, but I wasn't gripped by it, and it just had a lot of the same issues I had with Soul Music. So overall, for enjoyment, I gave this book 8 for enjoyment because I did still enjoy it. It's just, yeah, I didn't love it. Writing style, 10 out of 10. It's Pratchett. I can't knock marks for writing. Plot, now, I'm going to give a 7. It's just a standard plot. There's not that much to it. It's very generic. I mean, it's good because Pratchett obviously has plot, because we know from the first Pratchett books, plot wasn't Pratchett's strong point, but just nothing special there. World building, 10 out of 10. It's the Discworld. Characterization, 10 out of 10. Again, Pratchett. Representation, I did 7 because again, I'm just getting sick of Susan being made to fall in love with all the male protagonists, and also just the imbalance as well. Just, it didn't feel that great to me. And then finally, originality, 10 out of 10 because it is still Pratchett. So ultimately, I gave this book 3.5 stars out of 5. It's not a bad review. That's still a book I would recommend to read. It's still fun. I still enjoyed it. It just was lacking certain things for me. As I said, very similar to Soul Music in that. Let's go back to the beginning of the video where I gave you guys a quote from page 17 and asked you to guess the character. Who was it? Of course it was Nanny Ogg. Come on, who else is trying to sleep around with everyone they meet? And that's it. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this book review. If you like what you see, don't forget to subscribe to this channel. If you'd like to see as soon as I upload, click that little bell down below. You can also follow me on Instagram, Facebook and Tumblr. I post my bookish pictures as well as my writing tips and unboxings on there. And thanks so much for watching, guys. Bye!